Om Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Ishvaro Guratmeti Murti Beda Vibhagine Vyomabda Vyapta Dihaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Sava Vedanta Sedanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satiguru Pranatoshmaham Om Om Shanti 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 Om Namaste. Verse 20 we have seen yesterday, governed by their own avidya nature, compelled by one's inferior nature, moved by spiritual ignorance, which is a byproduct of lack of discrimination, which is a byproduct of various finite desires, So the Vedantin is advised to go back and resort to their name and form deities. And by doing any and all disciplines involved, beginning with the rituals and whatnot. But that's not our case, of course. So Krishna was talking to those people who are still moved by worldly desires, people without enough viveka to come to the understanding that those desires will never deliver this peace and happiness we are seeking. So we don't need to go back to our deities. That's the point. Furthermore, we from the West, we never really got much into this Ishtadeva concept. Anyhow, that was the verse we have seen yesterday. And Swami began presenting or elaborate even more on the topic of devotion, different kinds of devotions. I think we seen a little bit about that yesterday. Maybe here he begins taking the conversation on a different direction. But still it's here saying that people, due to lack of discrimination, they still have finite worldly desires. So they are devotees of the Lord, but they are not the highest level of devotion. They are the Sakama bhaktha, rather than the ni.kama bhaktha. Sakama bhaktha has a relationship with the Lord as a means to remove the obstacles between my desires, my worldly desires, and the accomplishment. Until one grows up to become a ni.kama bhaktha, one must remain with the spirit of devotion, because the spirit of devotion is what's going to accelerate this progression from Sakama to ni.kama bhakti. So there are advantages and disadvantages. We have seen that. What is the advantage of Sakama bhakti, for example? Anybody remember?
The advantage is that you're still connecting to God. So you're still recognizing God.
Yeah. It's easier because it's more tangible. It's not as abstract and subtle. So it's much easier to connect to God in that way. The one who just removes the obstacles in the name and the form of any one of these deities that are very tangible. There are deities for everything there. in India, huh? It is
Yeah.
for this and for that, for money, prosperity, for health, and whatnot. Therefore, we get a compare and contrast study of Sakama, ni.kama, bhakti. The, the big advantage of ni.kama bhakti is you have a devotion no longer expecting worldly gains, no? The facilitation to the accomplishment of my worldly gains, because you understood that they are finite goals. And now you want the infinite. So the advantage is that the puja, or whatsoever sadhana you do, you don't need to really go anywhere or going to your puja room or doing any doing sadhanas, but you have to go into the Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana that conduce to the understanding of God in its nature, in its infinite nature, as identical to my very nature. So rather than working for finite goals, now I want to work for the infinite goal. So the disadvantage of Sakama is that anything you gain does not deliver, because it's subject to time, change. Even if it is the desire for punya, you're gonna end up in one of these celestial locus, but even there, you're gonna have the departure as well, arrival and departure. Okay. And Sakama Bhakti means a Bhakti through which I seek finite goals. It's simple in language. We can say materialistic Bhakti, business Bhakti, commercial Bhakti. Somebody promised a ring. And then Swami tells a story, a strange story. It's a real businessman. He say, if I have this obstacle removed, I will give you a diamond ring. But I need to be cured of this terminal disease. So the Lord said, okay, he seems to be genuine and honest. And the Lord conceded the cure. And then the guy was in a situation, wow, these deals with God do really work, huh? Indeed, they work. And then he said, now, so I have to give my diamond ring. And then, and then the mind kicks in and say, so what am I going to do now? It's so valuable. And maybe, it was just by accident that I was cured. Maybe was my willpower, why I should give it to that church or this and that, And then he said, let's see, it took me some time. There was inflation between. And then he said the price of the diamond went up or something like that. And he priced the ring, he priced the diamond, and then he did some trick with financial tricks that is so common in nowadays financial transactions or institutions, to trick the papers, the numbers. And then he said that, okay, I'm going to compare the price at the time I made this problem, the price now, and then price of one thing and the other, and see the value. And then I will give the ashram there, the church, the temple, just the difference from that moment to this moment. Something, he did some trick. And he dropped the money to the temple. So this is an example of all these government agencies and business people, tricking, deceiving, yeah, playing with the numbers to make them show something. And then he managed to keep part of the asset and gave just a little bit. You understand, Philip? Hmm? So I'm makes a point here is that niskama bhakti does not mean total desirelessness. Niskama bhakti also there is a desire. Niskama bhakti, there is a desire for knowledge, knowledge of one's limitless, infinite nature. Is it still a desire? Yeah. This desire is called mumukshutva. Yeah. Is the last desire, and it needs to be very intense. There are some discussions in regard to this contradiction because considering the desire is a problem, so the desire for moksha may represent a stress. It's a little bit of an agitation. It is a stressor, but a very subtle stressor. And then people come up with these notions that call off the search. Remember those call off the search? Papaji and Gangaji and everybody that came in that lineage. Stop, don't seek, call off the search. You already that. Okay? As if somebody can really call off the search. So one is overtaken by the search. Oh, I mean, a couple, 2-3 times I tried to call off the search and just go back to live a normal life, focus on security and preparing for my older age. But the search is in command, let's say. So you cannot. Once you are bitten by the virus of Vedanta, seeking the true nature of reality, it's going to consume you. That desire consumes all other desires. Therefore, you stay with it, knowing there is an element of stress involved, but at the end, that desire is going to run out of what? Fuel. It gets the fuel from all other desires. It begins consuming all other desires. In the end, you have this huge mumukshutva. And then where he's going to get more fuel to burn? And then once finally surrender to the blessing of Shwara, the grace of the Lord. So it's also called Mumukshu Bhakti. Mumukshu Bhakti or Bubukshu Bhakti. Now, Bubukshu Bhakti, Sakama Bhakti. Mumukshu Bhakti is Niskama Bhakti. So, having talked about these two levels of devotion, Krishna wants to say that both are wonderful, both are okay. But ultimately, we need to become a Niskama Bhakta. Take your time in your relationship with the Creator. Take your time until you get mature enough to ask for what liberates and transforms, to ask for something that really delivers, this happiness and peace we wish to have. So there are many sayings now, small parables of the Lord appearing and somebody, just like the genie in the bottle, oh, okay, I'm here to fulfill your desire. How many desires? Well, you can ask a few, And then the person, no, I want this and this and this. Okay, so it's a long list. I can just provide that like that. But I have something here that's maybe much more satisfying. And what is that? It is self-knowledge and moksha. I say, what? What am I going to do with it, And the Lord said, oh, I have it here, but It's nobody wants, because I don't find any Niskama bhakta anywhere. Mhm. I don't find any mumukshu bhakta anywhere. People want things, finite things. And on my left hand, I have the infinite, but it's so hard to find mumukshu bhakta. So Swami reminds us that Krishna, as a name and form and the attributes, attribute to Krishna is finite. So Krishna it represents the finite Ishvara and the infinite Brahman. Yeah? So the finite Ishvara is a symbol of infinite Brahman. Is infinite Brahman under the superimposition of the supreme Tattvaguna, Sattvaguna, total intelligence, supreme intelligence. So Krishna appearing there as a deity is limited. So I said that Ishvara as well has a certain limitation as the creator, because Ishvara as well is subject to arrival and departure. So it's easy to understand that the deity Krishna, embodied, incarnated as a Krishna that the Puranas describe, is limited because it has a date of birth and a date of departure. But how about Ishvara? Ishvara also is subject to arrival and departure, because when it comes pralaya, Ishvara apparently disappears because Maya was tired of the show. Well, got tired of the show enough. Let's call back everything. I call back what? Ishvara, Jiva, and Jagata. I call back everything into the macrocosm, Maya. And Ishvara as well, although it's self-realized, all-knowing, omniscient, omnipresent entity, it's still subject of time. Pralaya is going to put an end to Ishvara, Jiva, Jagata. But we can always say, it doesn't matter, because Ishvara is simply Nirguna Brahman, yes. But the Ishvara as Sattvaguna, which is an attribute of the gunas, it's Sattvaguna, it's consciousness under a superimposition of Sattvaguna produces this entity, which is the supreme knowledge, total knowledge. But if you look in terms of a personalized God, it's definitely very much finite. But the finite deities, they are symbols of the infinite. We can always use them as symbol. So all of these deities, they are symbols of Ishvara. Ishvara, the creator. And the Shivara itself is a symbol of Brahman. I have been putting it as simple as possible to my group in Portuguese language, that all deities work for Ishvara. It's a byproduct of the human desires, and then they access God, and I want this and this and that. Oh, I heard that if you call this deity that is there in the Puranas, you're going to have those obstacles removed, and you're going to be healthy, you're going to be rich, and so on. So all these deities, they are sales representatives, so to speak of Ishvara. Ishvara is a symbol of Nirguna Brahman. The same way we have a flag, a nation's flag as a symbol of a nation. We have these deities as symbols of Saguna/Nirguna Ishvara. And there in India, we have, there is so much symbols in the in the Hinduism. So there are numberless, countless deities. Each one of deity is finite, but they can be used as a symbol of the infinite. So now Swami is going to explain that in the Gita, as unfolded in our sampradaya, Vedantic sampradaya, or Shankaracharya sampradaya. So it's a symbol. It's a symbol of Brahman, Krishna. But some other Puranas, some other interpretations here and there, they use other deities. It can be Vishnu. There are several he mentioned here. Okay, so some Puranas present other symbols rather than just Krishna. No, so this is just to make it easier for people to begin associate with a God which is limitless and infinite. So there is this Purana, Murugas Subramanian. You remember the deity is infinite, so but the symbol is finite. So whether you're going to invoke the superior nature of that deity or the inferior finite nature, it's up to you, the way you invoke it. If your Ishta Devata is Krishna, you need to understand that your devotion towards Krishna is the devotion towards Brahman or just towards Krishna, as a name and a form and attributes. There are several, numberless deities, all represent the infinite Brahman. Swami likes to give the example of a Shak book, and every leaf you have it open. It's so amazing that in the USA, when I went to live in the USA, I was so surprised that most of the payments were done by Shak. Everybody had a Shak book. You write a check and you mail it. That's something that did not exist in Europe, in Brazil for so long.
Or in UK still.
Yeah, it's
Still in
unbelievable.
UK, people use
Yeah, I think because here in Brazil, for example, in some other place, in Italy as well, we did not use it. In Italy, there was a lot of payment in checks. Yeah. Yeah. The problem is that a lot of checks were no good in Italy when I was doing business there.
You'd always blame it on the post. You say checks in the post.
Huh?
You'd always blame it on the post if they hadn't received it. You say, well, that's the post.
No, you should get the check, you deposit in your bank, and it has no funds.
Yeah,
you know?
that as well. Yeah.
So, but anyhow, in the United States, I still know that checks going here, and the mail is reliable to a certain extent. People do not steal checks to do anything. But every leaf is open. It's open value. Yeah? It's a blank leaf, and you can write any amount. So, in analogy, so Ishvara is there as an open leaf, and then the value we attribute to Ishvara, if we attribute as the one infinite God, and that is the real source of my devotion, because furthermore I understood that my nature is identical as limitless conscious existence. So, and then in one leaf, I can write the most valuable thing I desire and present to the Lord, which is moksha. But I can write all these leaves. I want a small car. I want a blender, new model of a blender. I want a motorcycle, We can write many things. I want, to go into the fifth dimension. So it all depends on our invocation, in our level of maturity. In the Gita, Krishna represents infinite Brahman. Therefore, all the Anya devatas represent finite goals of life. What is this Anya?
It just means other devatas. Other or different.
Okay, in the Gita, Krishna is the real deal, is the boss. Krishna is the representation of the infinite Brahman. And then all the other deities that appear in the Gita, they are just finite deities that serve the purpose to gain finite goals. So in the following portions, and therefore in the following portions, Sakama Bhakti will be present as other Devata Bhakti, symbolic Sakama Bhakti. I worship because I want to get what I want in terms of worldly desires. Who wants the infinite? What I'm going to do with limitless Brahman or the infinite Brahman? It makes no sense. I want things of this world. I want to enjoy my life, get things that give me security, tangible accomplishments. And then the scriptures say, watch out, because it is like a cupboard chair.
Okay. Yeah.
It's not going to, you cannot lean on it really. Keeping all these symbolisms in mind, we have to read the following verse. And first, Krishna will talk about other devatas, otherwise known as Sakama deities for Sakama Bhakti, or finite deities for Sakama Bhaktis. So Swami says there are some bhaktas, they are interested only in finite ends. Yes, we understand that. Most of every devotee is like that. Dharma, artha, kama. Either they want wealth, they want entertainment, or they want punya because they want to go into a higher loka. So how they are going to do that kind of worship? The desires are finite, so he cannot turn to the infinite Brahman to ask for finite accomplishments. If you want finite accomplishments, you need to contact or turn to worship finite deities. Very simple. Now, you cannot ask something which does not belong to the nature of Brahman, which is infinite limitlessness. Lakshmi Deva will represent only the finite end, which is wealth, money. Others will represent health and so on. Other is knowledge, power, sight. Now I'm getting blind. Ganesha will represent the freedom from obstacles. And they have temples for all these deities. And then people go there, and then word of mouth, everybody's worshiping my Istadevata here, and everything opened up for me. And then sometimes these temples or these deities, they become more fashionable due to their reputation, due to word of mouth. And then some says, and that happens because of they want the removal of some problems or some obstacle, and they attain that result. And that is because of their intense desire. Okay. That is where things get a little bit tricky, because Ananda once said that, I don't remember the book, that people are doing all of that, turning their devotion and their worship to one of these deities to gain some of this, to attain some of these worldly desires. And then they do, and then they attain that accomplishment. And then Dayananda says, so they don't realize that the desire were intense, the worship were intense, but they have attained because the actions they were put into the field were in total harmony with their desires and with dharma. Therefore, they accomplished their desire. So it's a combination of everything. You invoke God, but if you only invoke God and you don't put actions in harmony with your desire and in harmony with dharma, chances are that, as we say, the blessings of Ishvara or the grace of Ishvara does not fall from the skies accidentally. It requires, a religious attitude and proper actions. Some time ago, I heard James saying that the best possible prayer or worship is proper actions, direct to proper dharmic desires, in a proper time. That is the best prayer, the best worship. If once you really include God as the real boss who are going to facilitate or not your success, and then it's all good. But our actions, they are absolutely necessary. Even if the finite desires are fulfilled for the people without proper discrimination, even if the finite desire fulfilled, they cannot give lasting desires because those object desire, they just go away very quickly. So the effect they have in one's mind fades very quickly. They give you a temporary sense of fulfillment. The fulfillment, the satisfaction lasts very shortly. The people cannot see that. It's a kind of cognitive blindness, no?
It is, yeah.
People are doing the same thing, accomplish some goals, and yet, the feeling of emptiness and unfulfillment, dissatisfaction remains, and they don't connect the dots due to far-sightedness. Lack of that, they do not have that lack of far-sightedness. People are short-sighted, people who do not have enough viveka. Therefore, everybody repeats that fundamental error again and again and again and again. And Ishvara, oh my God, I have to give another round, another incarnation to this poor soul. They don't connect the dots, rightly?
Yeah, they don't know there's another option so many times, They just accept that.
They don't know because they don't have merits, They
Yeah.
don't have spiritual merits, pure punya that brought them to the scriptures, So
Yeah.
it's we can never say, oh no, they are innocent because they don't know any better. They don't know any better because they lack discrimination. If they had better discrimination, that discrimination would have brought them to the scripture. And then one has to still work on that, on what the scripture now provides. And once, oh, now I got to the scripture, they say, oh, it's incredible grace. It says much about you, human birth, in contact with the scripture and the guru and so on. But this is just the beginning now. Now it shows that you have a lot of spiritual punya. Now, oh, but these people, they never came to the scripture. Try to introduce the scripture to them, or they to the scripture. They are going to say,
Yeah.
leave me alone. Look, I mean, there's so many good things I can accomplish and gain in this life. It means to say that they don't have viveka. If you don't have that viveka, you don't have the merit to allow you to develop a value for the scripture and to self-knowledge and moksha.
Yeah, I heard in Vivekachudamani, Swami Dayananda says that Ishvara Anugraha, Ishvara's grace, is karma pala.
No. So they are short-sighted, they cannot see beyond their nose, they cannot connect the dots, they keep repeating, more or less like a dog going circle, chase one's tail, huh? Huh?
Yeah, very similar, good analogy.
Yeah, Sakama bhaktas. Then once you seek finite ends through devotion, you have to follow the rules. In the Hindu Vedic culture, the rules are very, very precise. Sometimes they call technologies on how to do all those ceremonies and this and that. If you don't do correct, it does not work, I don't know what to say about all of that. But anyhow, at the most I would say, if they do not really look on how to do these rituals and ceremonies properly, it means that they are lousy. If they are lousy, they don't have an attitude to even invoke Ishvara. Yeah, we can do it anyway. So at least show something, They have to fall to the word, the technology to do things properly, so they are dedicated, There are many conditions, many rules to follow. Time, a certain time, a certain tempo, and this and that. So none of these apply to us. But and depend on the desire you have. If you want to marry your daughter, this is a huge desire, And then you have to follow certain rituals. And you have to exchange that mala. So therefore, every rule you have to observe, etc., etc. Krishna says, these religious people, they do these things because they short-sighted, or they are lacking viveka, as it says here. Where is the verse? Deprived of discrimination. And then they are moved by desires for finite goals, and then they move for these finite goals because their viveka is no good yet. And the viveka is no good because of too many desires being obstacled, because you cannot get what you want. And then the first thing that needs to be noticed in this verse 20, and he says, so don't forget, go back to your deity and do all the rituals to the word, just do everything as it's prescribed. Take all the discipline, do everything, okay? And you need one Ishta Devata, and learn to do the because at least you are offering something. It's a huge sacrifice to do this puja, to do this ritual, and at least you are offering something. And then if you offer full-heartedly, Okay. I don't even know where I stopped anymore. Therefore, Krishna says the religion observe all those rules for the sake of getting that benefit. Therefore, every rule has to be observed. Yeah, that was here. So this is not relevant to us. Okay, but it's sometimes it's interesting to understand the Hindu Vedic culture. And then he says, all of that due to Ragadvesha, my personal likes and dislikes, and even if somebody talks about moksha, even if what he wants to say, even if they talk about moksha, we don't know where Swamiji was going with that. Krishna says the religions observe all these rules for the sake of getting some benefits, respectable rule, blah, 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 because of what? Because they are whipped up by their desires for worldly things. They have intense desires for worldly things. They want to get what they want, and they want to get rid of what they don't want. So for getting also one type of puja, for getting rid also, it's another time of puja. Just imagine. All because of what? My desires and aversions. And then in the end, Swami says, even if somebody talks about moksha, we don't know where he was going with that. But maybe he's saying like, even the people who talks big about moksha, but a lot of the time they are just doing pujas to get these finite things. Now here maybe he clarified, they do not have time to really go for Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasana. They are too busy running after these finite goals. No? They need to feed their ragadveshas. And they are not just one or two, they are so many, infinite, numberless. And people, they get so lost that wherever they turn their attention, they see promising desires, object of desires. Advertisement is all over the place in the samsara, even in the spiritual samsara as well. People deceived by fake gurus offering these other advertisements of sacred or mystical samsara. Therefore, they are controlled, they are slaved by their own desires. They are slaved by their own desires. It takes us to the verse 21. Let's hope it gets more relevant to us. Whichever devotee desires to worship faithfully any particular form, I stabilize that very faith in the devotee. So, this is a funny verse. It says, whatever the devotee desires, if they really turn their mind to me genuinely, they do their worship with a lot of faith in the Lord, right, regardless of all my sales representative, any deva, any god, but if they are devout, they know that everything comes to me, and then I will I will say, I will support that faith, until that faith matures and they come directly to me. Something on those lines, would be better described. Stabilizing that very faith means to say, I will make that faith in me worth it, worth in which sense they are going to grow to become ni.kama bhaktas, So it means to say that every one of these devatas with a name and a form and attributes, they are okay. And the more firmly I am in my worship, my faith, to these devatas, ishta devatas, the faster I will be promoted as ni.kama bhakta. So this Sakama bhakta who wants to fulfill so many personal worldly desires will go to the scripture to find out which devata is designed to fulfill different desires. We already looked into that. Swami reminds us that the desires are countless desires. So no wonder there are countless deities in the Hindu culture, If you want to improve your skin, so that you don't have this wrinkle so strong. I don't know this wrinkle, where it came from. It was not like that before. So I should worship, a devata for glowing skin, because now a lot of beauty parlors for men as well. Okay. Lord Surya represent Arogyam. You choose one of them, Sreya or Dhamvartari. Okay. We got the point, we got the concept. There are 7 items which will give the benefit directly proportional to your faith. Where is this verse coming from? There are 7 items which will give you benefit directly proportional to your faith or worship. Higher the worship, higher the faith, higher the benefit. No faith, no benefit. If you do things superficially without faith, and in that Ishvara Bhakti is also included, and therefore Shraddha. So trust, Shraddha. Shraddha is the key here, and Shraddha is only possible to the extent that you became a devotee. So therefore Krishna says, I will increase this Shraddha, the devotion, I will reinforce his bhakti. And I will do that by how? So removing the obstacles so that the desire, fulfilling the desires, the trust will grow. No? Faith is reinforced in one way. And how is faith reinforced? When I fulfill my desires, naturally it is reinforced. Next time problem comes again, you run for the same deity and so on. You run to that temple because that temple has good reputation for this and for that. So in the world of marketing, so people develop more trust in certain deities according to the success people are having due to worshiping this or that deity. And he said people not only go to temple, but they tend to come to swamis. If in swamis fulfill the desire of the devotee, all this space is not enough. You will find a long queue, moksha. You say, I want moksha, Swamiji. No, he says, if you say no, I will give him moksha today, the queue is very small. You remember that story? Huh?
No.
There is a story of a Swami that one day he said, so I will give away self-knowledge in moksha with full vairagya, to everybody coming and worship me this morning, no? Tomorrow morning or something like that. Every day people are going there because of he was promising Jesus that the day that I don't remember the details of the story, but it's very nice. Maybe some of you remember. And then the Swami was there, and there was nobody there because, as I was saying before, when you talk of moksha, very few people are going to come. And that is the mission of the Swami, of the Guru, to provide, potential for moksha by unfold these teachings for very rare people. Now, the Shraddha is that the Shraddha then becomes a Shraddha into the scripture as a means to find the infinite accomplished Aham Brahmasmi. I will fulfill desires. Actually, they are doing puja to whom? To devatas, but it all comes to Krishna. Devatas, they just represent symbols of Krishna. Same concept. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna represents Brahman, the infinite Brahman. Again, he's repeating himself. So now, since Krishna represents the infinity and all other devatas are finite devatas, all the other devatas will become part of Krishna because all finite things are part of the infinite. All the finite should be included in the infinite or not. If you are not include the infinite, what will happen? The infinite would not be infinite. Well, that's a trick logic, because the infinite and the finite, they belong to different orders. You cannot come into the infinite by putting together several finite deities, But the point here is that the finite deity is just a symbol of the infinite. And the finite is nothing than superimposition upon the limitless infinite Brahman. Maybe it's more or less on the lines that Mithya fundamentally is Satya, but Satya is not Mithya. All the devatas will become part of Krishna, and since the devatas are part of Krishna, the infinite and any worship will go to Krishna. But people do not know. That's the funny thing. People want things, worldly things, and they go for these deities without knowing that fundamentally everything is being delivered to the infinite God, So they don't know. They say, no, I'm delivering to my Ishtadevata. My Ishtadevata is going without knowing that everything is just a symbol of the infinite Brahman. There is a famous sloka that talks about that. In this sloka, who represents the infinite? Keshava represents the infinite. All others are finite. Therefore, Shiva Puja will go to Krishna. Ganesha Puja will go to Krishna. All puja will go to Krishna, but not directly, but through various other devatas. And puja, palam, is also given by whom? By Krishna. He gives it directly or indirectly. Krishna will not give puja, palam directly, but will use one of these sales representatives. So therefore, the Shiva Bhakta thinks that Shiva gave him the fruits, and he keeps worshipping Shiva, believing Shiva blessed him. Okay. It's something so much out of our culture, huh? Away from our culture.
Yeah.
If Krishna is also infinite, Shiva is also infinite. Okay, Swamiji, we got it. The verse 22, endowed with faith, he engaged in the worship of that form, and from that he attains all those desires which are indeed granted by me. The same concept. They get into those name and forms, deities, and they sincerely and intensely offer their worship. And whenever they attain those desires, it was due to my grace, because I am the one who can, somehow, work all the variables, all the different factors, align them so that this person can have success, I can grant, because Ishvara is Daiva, it's the totality of factors that are going to corroborate for us to succeed or to not succeed in our endeavors. You understand? Ultimately, is the grace of Ishvara is this Daiva, which is the totality of all factors, which includes most especially our efforts to accomplish whatsoever we desire. So we need to have Shraddha, yes. We need to do our worship. My Istadeva has a form and a name, and I do that. And then when I get what I get, I believe that my deity was the one who granted me that. But Swami or Krishna says they are granted by me and me alone, because I am the true Kama Pala Data. I am the system that somehow brings, your Parabhada, take in consideration all the elements, all the facts, and which includes, as I just said, our effort and observance of Dharma. Now, since one infinite God fulfilled the desire of the devotee through a particular deity, the devotee is going to say that Shiva fulfills my desire, but in truth, there is only one God. We like to call it Ishvara. Ishvara system, Ishvara knowledge. Because of the fulfillment of desire, and then how you say, self-reinforcing mechanism happens, because my desire was fulfilled, because I had great devotion. Now my devotion grows even more. And Swami talks more about that. A lot of nuance. It's something very cultural. Then Krishna once again reminds us that all those deities are only there working for me. They are symbols like flags. I am the real deal in my Saguna Ishvara nature and Nirguna Ishvara nature. Don't think that these deities are fulfilling everything is being blessed by me because I am the system, and you need to develop a certain attitude towards the boss, not the fear attitude, but the love and respect. Okay. Therefore, you think that no pujas are ever given to me, but you have no clue. All pujas are coming only for me.
Yeah.
Interesting to get that picture as well. You know? Oh, and I'm putting my pujas here, my worship here, and then it's all going to Shwara. Okay, hurry on. Let's see next when we come back if Swami gets over this. He's gonna do a recap, but we will just go briefly through these repetitions. What's most relevant to us is knowledge. Knowledge comes, in the Gita as well, big time, even in the artha, kama, karma, dharma, upasana sections of the Gita. It requires a lot of knowledge and understanding, but not about rituals and things like this. Okie dokie, so we say goodbye, vacation to everybody. I'm gonna have great time there in São Paulo, and I will let you know when we return, we get back with our classes, okay? I will be traveling my way back on Monday. This Monday, I'm full on with and then on the other Monday, I'm traveling, so most probably we'll meet on Tuesday and Wednesday upon my return, and Friday. Okay? Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishate Om Shanti 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 Om.
Okay.
Namaste. See you
Thank you very much.
again. Felipe, I see you there in São Paulo, huh? In Joanópolis. When you come, Felipe?
On Saturday.
Saturday. Morning or afternoon? Oh, you did not hear me. Anyhow, okay.
Seu áudio ficou mudo.
Now I was saying I will begin the seminar in the morning of Saturday. Okay, so if you
Okay.
get there in the morning.
Yes, I will 4 a.m. I will go to travel.
Okay. I see you there. Namaste. Bye bye.
Namaste.